Welcome back to Unfiltered, the real honest journey of a foodie on GLP-1. This is week 13. I survived Christmas. All the parties, the cookie exchanges, all the food, all the temptations, all the holiday cocktails. And my weight? Almost exactly where I started before this week. 131.6. I was 131.2 a week ago today. But here's the thing that I really want to share, and I really want you to pay attention to this. I didn't survive anything. I felt mentally strong, stronger than I've ever felt over the holidays. At the cookie exchange, I controlled myself, not because I felt like I had to use willpower, but it came naturally. At the holiday parties, the drinks were flowing, the food was abundant, the dessert table was groaning under the weight of all of the different treats. And I was disciplined and felt so mentally strong and capable. It was a remarkable feeling. And here's the other really crazy thing that I've experienced this year on this journey so far. This is my first winter, if you will, on this. Is that usually when things start to slow down, or if I'm on vacation, or have days off, my workouts tend to suffer. I prefer to work out first thing in the morning. I'm usually at the gym by 5:30 a.m. for a spin class on Fridays, and I have a couple of body pump classes that I take that start at 6:30 in the morning. And normally on vacation or on days off, if a Friday happens to be a day off for me for any reason, I tend to sleep in. I love sleeping in. I also love the feeling of getting up early and getting my workout in. And this time, in spite of the fact that there was all of these celebrations, I was able to set my alarm as usual for 5 a.m. and jump out of bed. And I am so proud of myself for that. And during that spin class, I was drenched in sweat in a way that I haven't experienced in a number of years. My headband was wet to the point where I could wring out some water. Everything was just drenched. To me, this felt such a validation of me showing up for myself, because I haven't had that kind of sweatiness in a really long time. And I think I mentioned this last week, where I felt like I was showing up. I felt like I was pushing myself, but I didn't feel that post-workout soreness in years. And I was so sopping wet after this last workout that it felt like a validation, like my metabolism had kicked up a notch, and I was back to feeling that hard soreness that one feels after a really solid workout. So this is what week 13 is looking like. Not perfect, still pretty messy, not zero indulgence, consistent choices that prioritize how I want to feel. And I'm feeling really solid about this. The medication gave me the space to make choices without the constant food noise. But I'm the one making these choices, and that's the difference, and that's sustainable. But as we talked about last week, I also understand the importance of forming these new habits and taking time, because they are new and I will need to sustain them. And so I'm really in this for the long haul right now. And something else is happening, something that I really didn't expect. I'm beginning to smile when I see myself in the mirror, with and without clothes on. I'm not at full body acceptance yet, but I'm beginning to see myself differently, that's for sure. Less critical, more curious, and just sometimes a little bit proud. Proud of how far I've come, proud of how strong I feel, and proud of how I'm looking in the mirror. That's new. That's really, really new for me. I'm still sitting with that feeling, and it's an unusual sensation. Let's just put it like that. I don't know how else to describe it yet. I'm still sitting in the question of what this feels like. In 3 weeks, I'll be going to Mexico. And there's a really big question looming over me about that. It'll be warm beaches, sunshine, and am I going to have the guts to wear a bikini? This is something that I think if you've watched my earlier videos, you know that this is a big deal for me. I've never worn a bikini without completely being self-conscious, or kind of like, you know, I have one, and it comes with a tank top cover, which I tend to wear. And the only time I'll take it off is if I'm submerged in the water. I have not sat poolside or beachside or walked around ever in a bikini. And that is my goal. That is one of my bucket list goals, if you will. And the jury is still out on whether I'll get there for this trip in the next actually less than 3 weeks at this point. I don't yet know yet. The brain is definitely changing. The body, as the documentation, all the data is showing, is changing for sure. My confidence is changing. The way I feel about myself is changing, but these are baby steps. Wearing a bikini in public and being comfortable in it feels like a really giant step, and I'm not sure if I'm there yet. So we'll see. I have no idea. So that's week 13. The holidays did not derail me. I'm beginning to like what I see in the mirror, both with and without clothes. My weight stayed stable, and my mind is stronger. That's the unfiltered truth. I'll see you next Sunday.